Oh my gosh, you guys, this story is so creepy and gross.
I heard this story at nighttime in Spanish and it was so fucking scary, so I'm gonna translate it for you.
This was the first time that I ever felt death, and it actually happened.
The story is so creepy that I have to force myself to stop thinking about it. It came from one of my followers that wants to stay anonymous.
Please, I don't have any time for any gossip now. Eh? Yes.
Look at you.
Do something with it.
It's just money coming to me easily. Money coming in and needing me. Money coming in repeatedly. Money coming, it's just money coming. It's just money coming to me frequently. Money coming in to be with me. Money coming in secretly. Money coming, it's just money coming. It's just money coming to me always. Money coming in all day. Money coming in all pay. Money coming, it's just money coming. It's just money coming to me frequently. Money coming in to be with me. Money coming in secretly. Money coming, it's just money coming. It's just money coming to me easily. Money coming in and needing me. Money coming in. Oh my gosh, you guys, this story is so creepy and gross. A 33-year-old woman and her boyfriend decided one summer to go backpacking in Arkansas. She said it's one of those states where you don't really ever hear about other hikers visiting, but they really wanted to go for the beautiful landscape and scenery. She said that the rules for this particular area was pretty lax. They didn't really need a permit, and there were very basic guidelines. Not even a check-in was needed. So they planned to do a 6-day hike, 3 days in, 3 days out. She said that the entire time they were out there, they never saw another soul. However, on day one, when they were prepping to go half a mile off of the trail to find a place to sleep as it was getting dusk, they did come across a 2-person green tent. Now, they said sometimes people who are backpacking are the social type who enjoy the company and hang out and conversation, and other times people keep to themselves. So as they were passing by, they kind of yelled out to make their presence known, but there was no answer back, so they figured they're either not there or they didn't want to be bothered. So they just kept on going a ways away to give them their privacy, and they set up camp for the night. Everything was normal. So they continue on and had a great time, and then on day 5, on their way back, after they totally forgot about Green Tent Guy, they came across the tent again. She mentioned that it was kind of unusual because usually people who are backpacking tend to keep on moving. They don't usually stay in one spot for long. They noticed from quite a distance that the tent flap is open. So the boyfriend wants to go check it out and make sure everything's okay because he thinks it's weird and what if somebody's hurt. She doesn't really want to do that, but he ensures her that everything is going to be fine. So he yells a greeting out again from a bit of ways away, and then they continue walking towards the tent. So she says when they got within about 20 yards of the place, a huge smell of decomposition hit them like a brick wall. So they stop dead in their tracks and they look at each other, and he says to her, "Oh my gosh, what if we're about to find a body?" The thought of it makes her skin crawl. She does not want to come across. They keep approaching, and she said as they got closer and closer, the smell just kept intensifying. They were sure they were going to walk in on a poor, unfortunate camper. But she says what they found was worse than that. Okay, I'm going to try really hard to explain this to you with as much detail as I can without being too graphic and getting in trouble on this app. She says outside the tent was 4 deer legs that looked like they had been cut off most of the way and then ripped off to finish the job, just laying all around and covered in flies. And then inside the tent was the body and head of the deer, but it was swaddled in a blue blanket with blood soaking the bottom area where the legs used to be. She said it was laying on its side with its bottom facing the tent's entry. And how do I put this? The tail was removed and its openings were exposed and stretched out and appeared to have been penetrated. She also said same with its mouth. It had been opened and bent down in a very extreme broken looking angle. She said the tent flap was open, so they didn't even need to go inside to see any of this, not like they would have gone inside anyway, because at this point the smell was almost debilitating. You guys, and then she said sitting there was an almost empty clear bottle of baby oil and a fringed green and white dirty towel sitting there. That was it. She immediately starts crying. She is begging him to go, and all he can do is just say, "What the F
She said that at that moment, they just booked it. They kept running and they didn't stop until they couldn't run anymore. They wanted to get as far away from there as possible. And it got to the point where it was getting dusk now, so they needed to set up camp. So they ended up setting up camp, but they didn't have a fire and they didn't cook. They didn't want anything sort of bringing the attention to them in case that this creep that did that could like somehow track them and make them his next victim. They tried to go to sleep, but every little noise kept them awake. They were just absolutely terrified. So just when it was about light enough to see the next morning, they tore down the camp and they booked it out of there. And they did say they stopped at the ranger station on the way out to let him know what happened. He took down as much information as he could, but they don't really know whatever came of it. They also said that since then they have shortened their hiking trips to no more than 4 days, and they are way less likely to try to interact with fellow hikers as they pass through. Guys, what in the F? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I mean, I really used to like camping, but the more I tell these stories, I don't know. And if you haven't already, don't forget to follow for more creepy story time.
Hey y'all, welcome back to All Things Jenny. I'm Jenny and welcome back to another episode of Crazy Spooky Storytime. These stories, I hope you're ready and I hope you're not watching this at night because you're going to get spooked. Let's get into the first story time.
I heard this story at nighttime in Spanish and it was so fucking scary, so I'm gonna translate it for you. And yes, it's a toilet seat and toilet paper because I'm this shit. So let me just set the scene. In Mexico, most neighborhoods have like a corner store, which is just somebody's home and they sell stuff there. So sometimes, actually a lot of the time, Mexican parents send their kids to go buy things since it's just like a block away. So when this girl was little, her mom had sent her to get some stuff at the neighborhood store, but on her way, she said that she ran into somebody who was desperately crying and urgently asking for her help. This lady basically asked her to go in through the window because she was little and she herself couldn't fit, and to get her the keys to the house so that she can open it and come inside. So she's little and she didn't know how to tell the lady no, so she ends up telling her yes, and the lady helped her get through the window. Once inside, the lady's like screaming at her desperately, get the keys, hurry up and pass them to me. She explains how the room that she was pushed into was disgusting. Like it smelled like urine, it smelled like rotten food, it was just horrible. She was moving a little slowly about the room because she was just seeing all the nastiness, and at that point she was a little bit scared. And the whole time this lady's screaming at her like, hurry up little girl, hurry, and she was making her nervous. By this point she's starting to cry and she screams at the lady, where are the keys, where are they so I can get them? And the lady tells her they're around her neck. When she turns around to look at the bed, she sees that there's a really old lady laying there on the bed in the middle of all this filth. She notices how this lady has very little hair. She has like dry saliva all around her mouth and she just doesn't look like she's in a good condition. She looked really skinny and it was almost as if somebody had abandoned her there. And the lady outside wouldn't stop screaming at her to get the keys that are around her neck. She got closer to the old lady that was on the bed and she did notice that there was a string around her neck and the keys were hanging from it. When she attempted to get the keys from the old lady's neck, she said that the old lady held onto her hand and wouldn't let her get the keys. From the struggle of trying to get the keys and the old lady trying to stop her from getting the keys, she accidentally kicked this bowl on the floor and the smell just got 100 times worse. By that point, she screams at the lady outside, telling her that the old lady doesn't want to give her the keys, and the lady's like, what are you talking about? Just get the keys. The lady screams at her, just take the keys, like forcefully take them. And at that point, she was so desperate too because she just wanted to get out of the situation, out of this house. She said that she literally got on the bed, got on top of the old lady and was trying to force the keys off of her head. And in that moment, the old lady opened her mouth and said, no, please don't take the keys, just let me be here in peace. And she noticed when the lady started crying. She said that she felt really bad, but she ended up pulling her head up, taking the keys out of her neck, gave the keys to the lady that was outside, and when she looks back, she can still see when the old lady was just crying on her bed. She said that she didn't even go to the store. She literally ran from there all the way home. She ended up getting in trouble with her mom because she didn't even come back with the stuff that she was supposed to get. But she explained the story of what happened to her mom. She explains that 30 minutes passed and her mom was still mad at her, so she goes up to her and tells her, come on, we're gonna go to the store and we're gonna get what you couldn't get for me. So as they're on their way to the store, they notice that there was an ambulance outside of the house that she had just ran from. They also noticed that there was somebody on the bed bed, covered from head to toe with a blanket, like if they have already passed. The first thing in her like child mind was, oh my gosh, she passed away, like poor old lady. And the lady who had been screaming at her from outside of the window was just screaming, my mom, and she would throw herself on the ground just crying. All of the neighbors started gathering around them, and the mom ends up asking one of them what happened. One of the neighbors answered saying that the old lady had passed away 4 days ago. The neighbor even explained to her mom that the body had already started to smell and that no one had noticed. She says that her mom turned to look at her and she was looking at her mom too, and then she started looking at her hands. She remembered that this old lady had been fighting her off and was holding on to her hands when she did it, and she had some nail marks on her. She literally got goosebumps, but she couldn't stop thinking about the fact that this lady had talked to her. This lady had told her, like, leave me alone, I want to be in peace. She even saw her crying, and she didn't even want to give her the keys. And then things started to make sense for her, because she was like, I remember when the daughter screamed at me, what do you mean she doesn't want to give you the keys? And it was because the daughter already knew that her mom was dead inside. They 100% believe that the daughter knew more than what she was letting on, but they have no idea what exactly that lady had been going through. And the fact that even after she passed, she didn't want to let her daughter come inside that house. She will never forget this experience, but yeah, that shit is crazy, especially being a kid and going through something like that. But what do you guys think?
I'm going to be telling you about the time that I spoke to a very powerful, beautiful Haitian woman who siphoned all of her wealth from a very evil middle-aged Caucasian woman. I don't even know how I was privileged to know this story, but I was. So my partner took me down south to Naples, and there's a very, very nice resort there, very wealthy. We were checking in, and it looked like she was obviously leaving. So it's a big parking lot. He said, hey, just stay here while I try and get things situated with valet. Just relax. So I said, okay, cool. Sat on the bench. I saw her walk over. She sat because she was leaving. Valet had to come get her car. I'm speaking with her. She reeks of wealth. Her hair is tied up in this white scarf, and she has a very long white skirt on. She's not wearing anything name brand, but that's how you know when people are very wealthy. So I'm just chatting with her. I'm an extremely social, very, forward person. So I said, excuse me, like, I hope you don't take this the wrong way, but how did you acquire your wealth? And she said, well, to be honest with you, I won a $20 million scratch off. And I started flipping properties, and I opened up a bunch of businesses. And I said, wow, that's absolutely amazing. She said, yeah, it's a very interesting story. I come and visit this very same resort every year on this date the date previously for the anniversary of her winning the lottery. So she starts going into the story of telling me how she used to work at that resort as a maid. She was working there for two years straight as a maid. And there was this middle-aged woman that came in, Caucasian, very, very, very rude. But she was living such a lavish lifestyle, didn't have to worry about anything. She grew up with a silver spoon in her mouth. Her husband was very wealthy. They were known all over Naples. And when she came in, she was so beyond rude to the woman that was the maid that I was speaking to previously. So she said that she looked on her roster that day and saw that she just so happened to be having to clean that woman's room. So she goes into the room, cleans the whole place, finds herself into the shower, getting ready to wash the shower. The woman had taken a bath previously, and so that middle-aged woman's hair, the Caucasian woman, her hair was in the shower. So, mind you, this woman is very Haitian. So she said that she collected hair, and she told herself that if this woman was evil to her one more time, that she would think about doing an ancient voodoo spell that her grandmother had taught her when she was a child, but she never had the courage to do it. And it was to siphon and manifest the wealth of another person. So she said that she was just doing her thing for the day, and that woman came up and pushed her buttons and said very rude things to me. She didn't go into detail. So she said that she went home. She didn't touch base on exactly what she did, because she said, unfortunately, this is not information I could just give out, out in the open. But she said she went home, she did what she had to do with the hair, and it was in that same exact week, because this woman was very well known in Naples, the Caucasian woman, that it was all over the news. She got a divorce. The husband cheated on her. She lost every single penny that she owned. Every single penny. She had to move back in with her kids and get a job and try and support herself and everything like that. In that same week also, that woman won a $20 million scratch off. And from then she started, investing in real estate and other businesses. I think crazy, right? And then in that nick of time, she just, wished me a great day, said thank you for, comforting her, and I have a great personality and I'm gonna make it one day. And she just got up the bench and left. And she looked back at me and, for a brief second, I wanted to run out and ask her if I could be her, mentee. And then my boyfriend walked in, so, I mean, it's unbelievable. And this woman was so pure of heart, so melanated, so gorgeous. What the fuck? What?
This story is so creepy that I have to force myself to stop thinking about it. It came from one of my followers that wants to stay anonymous, but the basis of her story was seeing a person that was not human. And I know that sounds crazy, but just listen to this. So she starts by explaining that she was using the bathroom in public one day, and as she's sitting in the stall doing her business, she hears the door open. And you know how the bathroom stalls, at least here in America, have those huge cracks where you can kind of peek out and others, unfortunately, can peek in if they really wanted to? Well, as she's sitting there on the toilet, she hears someone come in, so she kind of leans over to peek out and see who's in there with her because she notices that this person doesn't go into a stall. When she looks out, she sees this lady standing in front of the bathroom mirror, and she's just standing there, kind of smiling at herself in the mirror. The girl in the bathroom stall that sent me this story is thinking, okay, this is kind of weird, but she's just gonna mind her own business. She peeks out a couple more times, and this girl is still standing there in front of the mirror, just making different facial expressions at herself. Now at this point, she's already finished up with what she went in there to do, but she isn't really sure that she wants to get out of the stall and leave while this lady is still in there because she wants to avoid any awkwardness. She doesn't think that the girl standing at the mirror even knows that she's in the bathroom with her, and she doesn't want to embarrass her or anything, so she's just kind of waiting it out. But then she starts to hear these really strange noises. They're almost like these weird guttural grunts, like this girl is trying to find her voice. She's doing it repeatedly, over and over again, but as she's doing it, her voice is changing and forming more into a normal talking voice. Now the girl in the stall is positive that she's not leaving. She's officially freaked out. She said that it almost sounded like the girl was trying to mimic human speech. And she's still just standing there, kind of leaned over with her face pretty close to the mirror, watching herself make these different facial expressions and making these strange noises. But then her eyes dart over because she sees movement in the girl's stall. Once this thing realizes that she's not alone in the bathroom, she immediately stands up straight and walks out. And the girl in the stall who sent me this story ended by saying, whatever it was knew what it needed to do to blend itself into human society. So my mind can't help but wonder, what was it if not human, and why is it trying to mimic human form?
This was the first time that I ever felt death, and it actually happened. So I'm going to take you all the way back to January of 2004. I was in middle school and we were on Christmas break. So the break was coming to an end and we were driving back from Orlando. I remember that on the car ride home, I had the worst anxiety. I had this overwhelming feeling of death, this overwhelming feeling of heaviness, and I couldn't pinpoint it. Now, this wasn't a feeling that I had ever felt before, and I really did not know how to handle it. So I told my parents, I'm like, listen, something is not right. I don't feel good. I feel like death is upon us. I'm like, I feel like we're gonna crash. Something's gonna happen. Like, I was freaking out. And, my dad's like, no, everything's fine. We're gonna be good. Don't worry about it. Like, they were really trying to reassure me and calm me down, but there was no reassuring me. I felt that presence so strongly. So we end up getting home, nothing bad happens, and I have to go to bed because the next day I have to go back to school. So I go to my room, I just, try to get it out of my mind. I try not to think about it, but that lingering feeling, it's still there. I think I ended up falling asleep for a bit, and I woke up around 2:30 in the morning, 2:30, 3 a.m., and I had the worst panic attack. I knew that something bad was happening. That spirit of death, I felt it, and I felt it so strong. I started crying. I started freaking out. I started thinking that maybe something happened to my family back in Colombia. Like, my mind was just going, and I ran into my parents' room, and I woke my dad up, and I'm like, listen, something isn't right. Like, something's happening. I feel it. There's no reason for me to feel this way. I was really trying to calm myself down, but it just kept getting worse. Finally, I ended up falling asleep, and the next morning I went to school, came back home, nothing had happened. Everything was good. And I kind of forgot about it. I thought, like, you know what, maybe this was all just in my head. So the following day, I go to school, and then when I'm coming back from school, I get dropped off at the bus stop, and as I'm walking home from the bus stop, I see a crime scene investigation van parked at the corner of my road. So basically the corner house was where the van was parked at, and then there was this other house, my house, and dun dun dun, the guy my other neighbor. So I see this van and I'm like, what is that? What's happening? What's going on? Of course, the cops start interviewing people. So they come to our houses and they ask us, like, if we heard anything from 2 nights ago. So literally, the night that I was freaking out, the night that I was feeling all of those things, was the night that this neighbor over here, now she was a little old lady, and basically her, because he wanted money. He had her sign some checks and stole her vehicle, and obviously he wasn't a very smart, because he ended up leaving a cigarette butt on her property, right? And that's eventually how he got caught months later. So back to that day, the cops are interviewing everyone, and they let us know that and when it happened, her daughter lived in New York, and she hadn't heard from her mom. Like, they talked all the time, and it was just really, really odd that she hadn't spoken to her. So she basically asked for a wellness check, and that's when they discovered the body. Now, to this day, I don't know exactly what I was feeling. I don't know if it was just a premonition. I don't know if maybe, how they say that when someone's about to pass, they start to wander and visit places and stuff like that. I don't know if she came to me for some reason, and maybe that's what I was feeling, her despair, knowing what was going to happen to her. Because literally, like, my bedroom was on the side that was closest to her house. So when that guy, he literally walked through our backyard, like by my room, going towards her house. Yeah, it was absolutely insane, and I think about it from time to time, and it was just crazy. Like, you really never know who you live next to, and you really never know what people are capable of.
Hey guys, I'm Jenny, and this is Shameless Plug. So I want to tell you guys about my Crown of Success manifestation book with easy, simple rituals and spells to manifest a life of abundance in your life. And those spells are so easy, even a child can do it. So this book is filled with different spells that I've learned over the years from my family, passed down from grandma and everything. And also those are spells that I've actually tried and I know that they work. So this book not only teaches you step by step on the things that you can do that are so easy that a child can do it, but it tells you like the proper moon phase to use, alchemy, manifesting with numbers, numerology, and also the days of the week that best fit for this particular spell. So it tells you the timing of when to practice the spell, the days of the week, the moon phase. It shows you all the colors of the candles that you should be using and different planets. So for example, I show you like planet Jupiter is for Thursdays and the hours of the days that you should be doing the spell. So this is an easy road opener spell. So I know a lot of people like to do like different spell work, but if your roads are blocked, of course your spells are not going to work. So it's good to unblock yourself first and then start using the spell, especially with the new years and the new days to come. And also I have some amazing spells in here. This is a powerful quick money spell. So if you're in a bind for some money and you're just trying to get some money And I even have some easy, powerful spell to win game of chance. So if you are a gambler, now I don't promote gambling, but if you are a gambler and you're just trying to make some money and trying to make sure you win, these spells will definitely help you. It tells you the best days to do it. So it says the best days to perform this spell is on a Thursday, Jupiter day. Jupiter is the planet of good fortune, luck, and expansion. Jupiter is the best day to perform spells that boost luck and increase your chance of success in any game of chance or any money spell, period. It has a list of so many spells that you can incorporate in your life with this new year to bring prosperity. And I even put some bonus spells on here, which for Saturday is a day to do like protection work. So I have a spell for like send back to sender. So I put some bonus spells on here, and then a protection with Archangel Michael. So there's so many spells on here. Removing the evil eye spell, so you can remove evil eye in your money and also in your everyday life. New Year home blessing spell, and I know it's been a few days since the new year started, but you can always do a home blessing spell any days of the week. As long as you need it, you could do it. So anyways, guys, this is my book. It's called Crown of Success by Jenny, and it's available on Amazon, the ebook and also the physical copying. So please grab a copy if you're interested in supporting this channel. This is a way to support the channel and to support me as well for putting out, content every day for you guys. So enjoy. So I hope you guys enjoyed this book, and I hope you go and grab your copy, whether it's the ebook or the physical copy. I say have a physical copy, but it's really up to how much, your wallet and what you can afford. So anyways, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye. Mwah. This is a shameless plug, so just check out my channel, okay? Love you guys. Mwah.